class, what we'll try to understand here is, let me go and keep here. Today is class 4, oh, sorry, class 3. Now in today's class, what we'll try to understand is, first we'll try to understand what is meant by site columns. First we'll try to understand one concept called what is meant by site columns. And also we'll go and discuss about different ways to create the list. So we'll go and discuss 2 points now in today's class. The first point we'll try to understand what is meant by site columns. And the second point we'll try to understand what different ways to create the list in SharePoint. So first let me go and discuss about what is meant by site columns, guys. First let me go and discuss about what is meant by site columns. So what is meant by site columns means, site columns or just like normal columns in a table. Normal columns in a list. List is nothing but a table. So what is meant by site columns means, the first point we need to understand, site columns are just like a normal columns in a table case. How we will have the columns in a list? In the same way the site columns also will work. Let's say in the yesterday's class we created one list, right? In yesterday's class we discussed about how to go and create one list. So what is the list we create in yesterday's class? We created a list called employees list. Employees details is the list we created. So let me go and keep those lists here. In yesterday's class we discussed about how to go and create a list. We discussed about how to go and create the list. So let's say I'm going to keep some columns here in the list. So what are the columns I'm keeping here is, the first column is employee number column, the second column is employee name column, and third column is what, salary, and one more column is department number column. Like this we discussed about how to go and create a list and how to add the columns to a list. What's the list we created? We create the list called employees is the list, employees details or employees. Now how we'll have the columns? This is my list, guys. List name is employees. So the list contains what? Already said that in yesterday's class. List contains what? In the SharePoint terminology, the list will contains the fields or the list items. Fields are nothing but what? Columns. So how we'll have the columns in a list? How we'll have the columns in a list? In the same way, the site columns also will work. So what's the first point we need to understand? Site columns or just like normal columns in a list. How we'll have the columns in a list? In the same way the site columns also will work. Online people, please be on mute. So how we'll have the columns in a list? In the same way the site columns also will work. And the second point here is, let me go and keep here one more point. Site columns are used to create the columns or fields. Is used to create the columns or fields which can be reused, in multiple lists or document libraries, which can be reused in multiple lists or document libraries. So what is the use of this site column? I said that site columns is nothing but what? Site columns are just like a normal columns. So what is the use of this site columns means? Site columns are used to create. What is the use of the site columns means? These are used to create the columns or fields which can be reused in multiple list or document libraries. So let's say there are some columns where you need to go and reuse it in a multiple list in the SharePoint. So instead of going and creating that column manually in the multiple list, you can go and create that column with the help of site columns. So whatever the columns you are creating within the site columns, that site columns can be reused in the multiple list or document libraries. So what is this site columns means? As we know that site columns are just like a normal columns in a list. So what is the use of this creating the site columns means? This site columns are, with the help of the site columns, we are able to create the columns or fields which can be reused in the multiple list and document libraries. Let me go and give one scenario here, guys. When to go and use the site columns? Let's say I'm creating two different tables here. One is employees table. In the employees table, I'm going to keep some columns: employee number column, employee name column, salary column, and then department number column. Let's say these are the columns I'm going to keep in this table. I'm going to keep some columns in the table or in the list. So employee number, employee name, salary, and then department number. Let me go and keep the columns here, guys. First one is employee number column. The second one is employee name column. Third one is salary, and one more is department number column. So these are the columns I'm having in this list. What the list name is? Let me go and keep the list name as EMP. And I'm going to create one more list here. I'm going to create one more list. The list name is departments. In this table also, or in this list also, I'm having the columns as department number column, department name column, and then location column. So these are the columns I'm going to keep in this table, DEPT table or a list. Let me go and keep the columns as department number column. The next column name is what? Department name column. And next one is what's the location of the department? Department number, department name, and location. So what's this table name is? This table name is DEPT table. What's this table name? DEPT. Now try to understand this. Now, if you observe in the EMP list and also in the DEPT list, there is one column. What's that column I'm having here is department number column. I'm having the department number column in the EMP list, and also I'm having the department number column in the department list. So in these two tables or a list, EMP and DEPT, I'm having one common column, guys. What's that common column I'm having here? The common column is department number column. So whenever if you are going to use, or whenever if you want to create the same column in the multiple list, then instead of going and creating that column manually, you can go and create that column with the help of site columns. And whatever the column you are creating here within the site columns, you can go and reuse that column in the multiple list, guys. So like this, let's take there is one more table is there. In that table also I'm having the department number column. I want to go and create the department number column. Instead of going and creating that column manually, so you can go and keep that column in the, you can create that column with the help of site columns. Whatever the column you are creating within the site columns, I said that what is the use of the site columns? Site columns are used to create the columns which can be reused in the multiple list. So if there is a column where you need to go and create in the multiple list in the SharePoint, instead of going and creating that column manually, you can create that column within the site columns and reuse that column in the multiple list. So this is what is meant by site columns, guys. The site columns also comes under the list only. The site columns also comes under a list. Now we know that what is meant by site columns. Now let me go and open the SharePoint. Let me show you how to go and create a site column and how to go and reuse them in the multiple list. Let me go and open the SharePoint. Let it open. So let me go to the SharePoint. Let me go to the search bar and search here for what? SharePoint. Just go and click on this application, SharePoint application. Just click on it. It will go and open the SharePoint now. So we are working with one site. So what is the site we created for this batch? Batch 9 a.m. AST. Just go and click on it. Now try to understand, guys. Already I'm having two lists here. One is employees, second is EMP DEPT. Now try to understand. Let me go and remove these two lists, guys. I want to remove these two tables. Like how to remove it? Go to the site contents. Go to the site contents. Within the site contents, you are able to see those two lists here. I want to remove them. Let me go and remove it. Let me go and delete this EMP DEPT. Let me go and remove this employees table also, or a list. Now I want to go and create two lists here, guys. So what are the two lists I want to go and create? One is EMP and second is DEPT. I want to create the two lists now. Let me go and create one of the list called employees list. So I'm going to create a list from the blank now, from the blank list. Let me go and keep the list name as EMP and let me go and click on create. Now I'm going to create one list here. The list name is EMP. In this list, whenever if you create a list, by default the SharePoint will add one column, default column. What's that column? Title columm. Now I want to rename this column name from title to employee number or employee ID. How to rename the columns or how to add the columns to a list? If you want to add the columns, you can go and click on this add columns case, or go to the settings, go and click on what? List settings. When I go to the list settings, here you are able to see the column name title column. First let me go and rename this column guys. Select the title column. Now it will also edit the column. Let me go and keep the column name as what? Employee number. And also let me make this column as required column guys. Employee number is required column, and also unique values I want to allow. So just keep it like this. Now go and click on OK. Now see that column name is changed from employee title to employee number. Next I want to go and add a few more columns. So go and click on what? Create column. So the next column I want to create is employee name column, e-name. Data type is single line of text. Now scroll down, click on OK. I'm adding the one more column, that is employee name column guys. Next I want to go and create one more column, that is what? Salary column. What is that salary? Data type is currency. I'm selecting the data type as what? Currency. Next go and click on OK. So let me go to the list now, EMP list. Now I'm adding some columns to this list. Now what the columns I'm adding here guys? I'm having the three columns in this list: employee number, employee name, and salary. Now I want to go and add an extra column, that is department number column guys. I want to go and add an extra column, that is department number column. But I don't want to add this column manually. I don't want to add this column manually. I'm going to show you how to go and add this column, department number column, with the help of site columns guys. So this is one of the list I'm creating, EMP. In this EMP list I'm having only three columns. I want to go and create another list called DEPT. Let me go to the home tab. Let me go to the home page, and now let me go and select here new, and I click on new, and I click on this list. Now it allows us to create another list guys. Let me go and create a list now. The list name is DEPT. The second list I'm going to create is what? DEPT. Let me go and click on create. I'm creating another list here. Now see, whenever if you create a list, as we know that it will go and add one column called title column. Let me go and rename this column title column to, let me rename it to department name column guys. Now how to rename it? Let me go to the settings. Just 1 second, it's not loading. Fine. Let me go to the settings and go and click on what? List settings. When I go to the list settings, from here you are able to change that column name. Just go and click on the title. Now it will allow us to change the column name. Let me go and change it to what? Department name column. Now just go and click on OK. I'm changing the title column to department name column. And next I want to go and another column, that is location column guys. What's the department location? Let me go and add another column, location column. Data type is single line of text itself. Now scroll down and click on OK button. Now see, I'm creating one list here, the DEPT. In this list, how many columns I'm adding? Only two columns. Now go to the list called DEPT guys. Now see, in this list I'm having how many columns? Only two columns is there, department name and location. Now I want to go and add an extra column now. What's that column? I want to go and add department number column. Now I don't want to add this column manually. I want to go and add the column with the help of site columns. So what I'm doing here is, still now what I did here is I create two different tables guys. One is EMP table. One is EMP table. In the employees table, I'm having the three columns: employee number column, employee name column, and then salary column. These are the three columns I'm having in the list. What is that list? EMP. So let me go and keep the columns. So just whatever it is, still now I'm keeping it here. I'm created one table called EMP. In the table, I'm having the three columns. The table name is EMP table, and I just now I created another one more table, that is what? Departments table. In the departments table, I'm having two columns. What are those two columns? One is department name and second is what? Location column. in this second table DEPT, I'm having only two columns. One is department name and second one is location column, guys. Now what is the table name? That is list name DEPT. So I create two lists here. One is EMP, second is DEPT. Now what's my requirement here is I want to go and add an extra column to this list, guys. Both EMP and DEPT. Sorry, I want to add an extra column. So let me go and keep here. I want to go and add the column. What's that column I want to add here? I want to go and add the department number column, guys. There is one column, department number column I want to add into the table called EMP. And also I want to go and add a column to the DEPT table list also. What's that column I want to go and add it here is. Let me go and keep that column name as what? Department number column. So what's my requirement here is I want to go and add one column, department number column, both in the EMP and also in the DEPT. Now instead of going and adding that column manually, now I'll show you how to go and create a site column, how to create this column within the site columns, and how to go and reuse those columns in the list. Let me go and discuss now. So once after creating the two list EMP and DEPT, now how to go and create the site columns, guys. If you want to go and create the site columns, first of all you need to go to the site contents. So go to the settings and click on what? Go to the site contents. Go to the site content. When I go to the site contents, when I come to the site contents, now on the top you are able to see what? Site settings. Let me go to the site settings, guys. In the site settings there is something called a web designer gallery. Under the web designer gallery, we'll go and discuss what now? We need to go and create the site columns. Under the web designer gallery there is something called site columns. Just go and click on the site columns, guys. When I click on the site columns, now it will allows us to create a site column where we can go and reuse it in the multiple list. So now see, by default, whenever if you create a site, whenever if you create a site in the SharePoint, by default, SharePoint itself will have some site columns, guys. Now see, this is the group name. It is creating some groups, base columns. This is one group name. In this group, these are the columns I'm having. So there another group, content feedback. These are the columns is there. Next, core content and calendar columns. These are the columns. So all these are the default site columns, guys. I want to create my own site column where I can go and reuse it in the EMP and DEPT list. So let on the top you are able to see what? Create. Let me go and click on this create option, guys. When I click on this create, now it will allow us to create the site column now. Let me go and pass the column name now. So what is the column you want to keep in this site column? I want to go and create the column called department number column. What is the data type you want to keep? I want to go and keep the data type as a choice column, guys. Select the column name, column data type as what? Choice. If you scroll down here, you need to go and select the group. So there are some existing groups is there. Base columns, just now I discussed. Base columns, content feedback, core content and calendar columns. All these are the base default groups. You want to go and use these default groups to store this column, or if you want to create new group, I want to create the new group, guys. I don't want to go and use the existing groups here to store this column, department number column within the site columns. I want to go and create one new group. So go and click on what? New group. When I click on this new group, now see, it will allow us to pass the group name. Let me pass the group name as what? Department number site columns, whatever the name it is, guys. Let me pass the name as department number site columns. This is the group name I'm creating. This is the group name. In this group, I'm going to keep one column department number. What's the data type? Choice. Now scroll down and let me go and pass here the choices, guys. What are the choices? Department number 10, 20, 30. These are the choice values I'm keeping there. Next, once after this, scroll down, click on OK. When I click on OK, now it is going to create one site column. What's that site column? Department number is the group. What is the group name? Department number site columns is the group name. If you scroll down, now once it is created, if you scroll down, you are able to see the group name here, guys. What's that group we created? Department number site columns is the group. Let me scroll down. Now see, you are able to see the group name is what? Department number site columns. This is the group we created. In this group, what's that column we created? Department number. What is that data type of this column? Choice. So this is the group I am creating. New group, department number site columns. In this group, I'm creating one column. What's that column? Department number. So this is what, how to go and create a site column, guys. Let me go. Once after creating the site column, now go to the list. Go to the list. Go to the site settings and go to the home tab. And then go to the list called EMP, case. Now in the EMP list, I want to go and add that column, department number column here. Now how to go and add it? Now before going to add the column, first of all, let me go and keep here how to create the site columns. Now how to go and create the site columns? Just now we discussed, right? First of all, to create the site columns, you need to go to what? Site content. Go to the site contents. Go to the site contents. Next, go to the site settings. Next, in the site contents, there is something called what? Web designer gallery. Web designer gallery. In that web designer gallery, you are able to see what? Site columns. So this is the navigation steps we are using to create what? Site columns. Now once after creating the site column, next we'll go and discuss about what? Next we'll go and discuss about how to add the site columns. How to add the site columns to a list. Now how to add the site columns to the list, guys? Now to add the site columns to the list, now let me go to the SharePoint. Now go to the list. Let's say I want to go and add that site column to which list? EMP. Into this list I want to go and add. Now how to add it means, from here you are not able to add it, guys. From the add columns you are not able to go and add the site columns. To add the site columns, go to the settings. Mandatory you need to go to what? List settings. Go to the list settings. Under the list settings, you are under here, these are the columns I'm having: employee number, employee name, salary. Along with this I want to go on an extra column, that is what? Department number. Now how to add that column department number means, I want to add it from the site columns. So you are able to see an option here called add from an existing site columns. You are able to see an option called what? Add from an existing site columns. Just go and click on it, guys. When I click on this, now it will allow us to go and add the columns to a list from an existing site columns. Now see, add the columns from a site column. So what is the site column we created, guys? What is the group we created? Let me go and select the group first. What is the group name we created? Department number site column. So just select the group name. Go and select the group name. Now in this group, what is the column we created? Department number. Select the column. Go and click on add. Now see, it is adding that column now. Now scroll down. Click on OK. Click on OK. When I click on OK, now see, I'm adding that column, guys. Now I'm adding the department number column from where now? With the help of site columns. What's that column name? Department number. What's the data type? Choice. Now once the column is added, you can go to the table called EMP. Now in the EMP table, previously I'm having only employee number, employee name, and salary. Now I'm adding an extra column called department number column. This department number column adding to the list with the help of what? With the help of site columns. This is what, how to go and add the site columns to an existing list. Next, there is one more list called DEPT. Where is that list? So let me go to the site contents. We are having one more list, that is DEPT. Let me go to the list called DEPT, guys. Now see, there is one more list called DEPT. Now in this list I'm having department name and location. Now I want to add one more column, that is what? Department number column, which is there in the site columns. Now how to add the column from the site columns to this list? Go to the settings. Go to the list settings. Under the list settings, by default there are two columns is there. I want to go and add an extra column, that is what? Department number column. Now how to go and add that column? Now go and click on the add from an existing list, add from an existing site columns. When you click on this add from an existing site columns, now see, it allows us to add the columns from an site columns. Now select the group name. What's the group name we created? Department number site columns. What's the column it is? Department number. Go and click on add. Scroll down, click on OK. Now if you see, now once the column is added, you are able to see that column name here. What's the column added just now? Department number. What's the data type? Choice. Now when I go to the list called DEPT, now you are able to see that column here, guys. Now I want to keep this column in the first place. So this is the column, department number column, department name and location. Previously I'm having only two columns, but now I'm adding one more column, that is what? Department number column. By from where I'm adding this column, the help of the site content. Whatever the column is there in the site columns, that's that column I'm adding to where list. So this is what how to go and add the site columns to an existing list. So whenever if you want to go and create the same column in the multiple list in the SharePoint, instead of going and creating that column manually, you can go and create that column only once in the site columns and then go and reuse that column in the multiple list. Let me go and keep that point here, how to go and add the site columns to an existing list. Guys, how to add the columns to site columns to an existing list? First of all, go to the list, go to the list. Once after opening the list, go to the list settings. Go to the list settings. Within the list settings, go to the add from an existing site columns. Add from an existing site columns, and then you can go and see the columns there. So this is what the navigation steps. First, go and open the list and then go to the list settings. Within the list settings, go to what, add from an existing site columns. So this is what the navigation steps we are following to go and add the columns to an existing list. What columns? Site columns. So this is all about what is meant by site columns, what is the need of creating it, how to go and create the site columns, and how to add the site columns to an existing list. And next we'll go and discuss about what here, different ways to create the list. Guys, different ways to create what, list. Now what are the different ways we are having to create the list? Let me go and keep here different ways to create the list. So still now we discussed about only one way to create the list. Guys, what is that one? Still now we discussed about one way to create the list. What's that? Let me go to the SharePoint. Let's say let me go to the home tab. Now I want to go and create one list. If you want to go and create one list, you can go and click on what, new. When I go to the new, here you are able to see what, list. When I click on list, now it allows us to create a list. Now see, create a list. There are how many ways you can create a list? There are four ways you can create a list. One is what, blank list, from an existing list, from an Excel file, and from a CSV file. There are different ways you can go and create the list. Still now we discussed about what, from a blank list. Already we know that how to go and create a list from the blank list. Let me go and keep all those points here. Different ways to create the list. What are the different ways we are having to create the list? The first one is blank list, and second one is what, from an existing list, and third one is what, from an Excel, from Excel, and fourth one is what, from a CSV file. So these are the different ways. Totally there are four ways you can go and create the list in the SharePoint. So already we discussed about the first one, how to create a list from the blank. Now we'll go and discuss about the remaining ways, how to go and create a list from an existing list, how to create a list from an Excel file, and how to go and create a list from a CSV files. So first let me go and discuss about how to go and create a list from an existing list, guys. Now see, so I want to go and create a list now by taking the existing list as a reference. Now see, let's say there are some list is there. I'm having the few lists here. What's the list I'm having? EMP and DEPT. Now I want to go and create another list called employees. So I want to create a list called employees by taking this EMP table as a reference. So in this table EMP or in this list, these are the columns I'm having, guys. Now by taking this list schema as a reference, I want to go and create another list. Now to create another list, by taking the existing list as a reference, go to the new, go and click on list. Now let me go and click on this select from an existing list, guys. When I click on this select from an existing list, now it will shows all the sites you have. So these are the different types of sites we'll have. So from which site you want to go and add the list? You want to add from a batch 9am site. So in the batch 9am site, what columns is there? Department number, sorry, department and EMP. If you go to the batch 1076 p.m., there is one list called students. If you go to the batch 9am, there is one list called students inquiry. If you go to the demo site, here we don't have any list. If you go to the forms, here I'm having the 4 list. If you go to the gallery, in the gallery I'm having the 4 list. Now you want to create a list from an existing list. Now you want to take the existing list from which site? You can take it from any one of the site. Let's say I'll go and take it from the batch 99ist itself. Now from this site, I will go and take what? EMP is the reference list. So whatever the columns is there in the table EMP, the same columns I want to go and add it to the another list. I want to create the same list with same columns. Let me go and click on next. Now see, you need to go and change the table list name here, guys. Already we have the EMP. Let me go and keep the list name as what? EMP1. Now once after this, go and click on what? Create. When I click on create, now it is going to create a new list by taking the existing list as a reference. So whatever the columns is there in the existing list, with same columns, it is going to create another list here, guys. This is what how to go and create a list from an existing list. If already a list is there in the SharePoint, if you want to create another list by taking that existing list as a reference, this is the way how to go and create it. Next one is how to go and create a list from an Excel file. How to go and create a list from an Excel file. Let's say I'm having an Excel file in my local system. Let me go and open the Excel file in my local system. I'm having one Excel file here. Let me go to the data sources. So there is one Excel file called empdept. Now see what the extension for this is. It is the Excel workbook. So here I'm having one list called empdept. In the Excel file, there is one table. So what is the table I'm having is, let me go and open it, guys. empdept is the Excel file name. Now in this I'm having one list called emp list. Sorry, one table called emp table, and I'm having one more here dept, and I'm having one more manager. Now by taking this Excel data or Excel list as a reference, I want to go and create a list in the SharePoint. Now how to go and create it? So how to go and take them, or how to go and create an Excel, sorry, how to go and create a list from an Excel file. Just go and click on this new, create a list. Now I want to create a list from where? From an Excel file. So just go and click on the Excel file, guys. Now I want to go and create a list from an Excel file. Just click on it. Now when I click on it, now it is asking to upload a file. So you want to create a list from an Excel file by taking the Excel as a reference. So what's that Excel file? Go and click on upload file, guys. When I click on upload file, now it will go to your local system, go to the desktop, and where I'm storing that file, go to the MS Power Platform. Go to this, go to the Power Apps, go to the data sources. Here I'm having one Excel file. What's that Excel file? empdept. Now select this, click on open. When I click on open, now see, by default it is taking the EMP table. So first column it is keeping as what? Title column. So this is the title column, guys. Next employee first name. This is the employee first name. What is the data type? Single line of text. Employee last name. Single line of text is the data type. If you want to change the data type here, you can go and change the data type from here. Next job, single line of text. Next manager name, number column. So manager, instead of going and keeping it as a number column, let me keep it single line of text, guys. I want to keep the manager ID as single line of text. And a hire date. So hire date is a date column, but is taking what? Number. I want to change it to date. Let me go and change the date type as what? Date and time. You need to check whether the schema is creating correctly or not. And next one is what? Salary. So salary is number column. Let me change it to currency. Let me change it to currency. And finally, there is one more column, commission column. It is a number column. Let me go and change it to what? Currency itself. And let me keep it as, let me keep it as currency. Let me go to another column, department number. So it is a number column. So these are the columns. These are the columns. And what is the data type of those columns? Employee number is a single line of text. I think it's changing. Let me keep it as title column. Fine. Once after this, now go and click on what? Next. First check the schema. The columns will have properly or not, and the data type is properly arranged or not. So it won't arrange the data type properly. You need to go and keep the data types. Next, go and click on what? Next. When I click on next, now it is asking us to pass the name. What's the name you want to keep? I want to keep the same name, empdept. Go and click on create. Now when I click on create, now see, it is creating a list for us. Now what's that list? It is empdept. So whatever the columns is there in the SharePoint in the Excel file, if you go to this Excel file, whatever the columns is there in this list, EMP, DEPT, the same is there in the SharePoint also. If you go to the SharePoint, the same columns I'm having here: employee first name, last name, manager ID, hire date, salary, commission, department number. So if there is any Excel data, if there is any data in the Excel, then if you want to convert that, if you want to bring that into SharePoint list, you can bring it. But while before bringing to the SharePoint list, make sure that whatever the data you want to bring into the Excel, that data must and should be in the tabular format, guys. So I'm keeping the data in the Excel in the tabular format. If there is no data in the tabular format, it doesn't allow us to create. So whatever the data you want to take from the Excel, you want to create a list from an Excel, make sure that the data in the Excel must and should be in the tabular format. Then only it will allow us to create. So we discussed about how to go and create a list from a existing list, and also we discussed how to create a list from an Excel file. Now we'll discuss about how to go and create a list from a CSV. So I want to go and create another list. Go to the list. Now we discussed about how to create a list from a blank, from an existing list, and from an Excel file. Now I want to create a list from a CSV file. Now if you go to my data source, there is one CSV file is there, guys, comma separated value. So there is one uh, file here, CSV file. So this is the data I'm having in the CSV file. So these are the columns: employee number, employee name, job, department number. These are the columns and this is the data. Whatever the data I'm having here in the CSV file, I want to bring it to SharePoint. So I want to create a list by taking the CSV file as a reference. So create a list from a CSV file. So just select the CSV, go and click on upload a file. Now go and upload this file, guys, EMP. Go and select the table list name as, what's the file name? EMP. Click on open. When I click on open, now these are the columns, guys. Now go and check whether it is having the proper data type or not. So salary is number. Let me go and change it to currency. I think here we don't have the currency. Okay, let me keep it like this. And department number is number column. So this is the list it is going to create. Now once after this, go and click on what? Next. When I click on next, it is asking us to pass the list name. Let me keep it as EMP2. Now go and click on create. When I click on create, now it is creating a list for us. So whatever the columns is there in this CSV file, whatever the data I'm having on columns and data, the same I am able to see it here also. So there are different ways you can go and create the list, guys. As we know that you can create a list from a blank, or if there is any existing list in the SharePoint, if you want to create a new list from an existing list, you can create. Or if there is any list, if you have any data in the Excel file, by taking this Excel file, if you want to create a list, you can create a list from an Excel, and also you can create a list from a CSV. So these are the different ways where you can go and create what? List. So these are the different ways to create the list, guys. So you can take any one. So by default, we'll go and create the list from the blank only, but try to understand what the different ways we'll have to go and create a list. So this is all about how to go and create a list from the blank list, from an existing list, from an Excel file, and from a CSV file. So this is all about what is meant by site columns and different ways to create the list. So as we know that site columns are for what? Site columns are just like a normal columns in a list. So if you go and create a column within the site columns, that columns can be reused in the multiple list and document libraries. And then we discussed about how to go and create a site column, and then how to add the site columns to an existing list. And then we discussed about different ways to create a list in the SharePoint. Let me go and stop here today.